100 for Fahad, 84 for Evoh. That's a brilliant server for Evoh. Like, I remembered he had a really good connection to EU, which is really cool, because love to see these different types of matchups. Not sure if Evoh is ready for this. Did he do this on purpose? There's no way he did this on purpose, did he? Oh. I feel like he didn't mean to stay in net there, but it also looks like it was entirely his fault, because he said no problem and then missed the save. Anyway, 1-0, so a bit of a bean moment from Evoh to start things off. Evoh is streaming. Oh yeah, so Evoh's Twitch is what Fear just typed in chat. Remember the underscore. So everybody be sure to follow him if you've got if you're on PC and you can open up a second tab. Head over to twitch.tv/YUNGEVOH_. Drop him a follow. Appreciate him playing another show match, and this should be a good one. Evoh is extremely fast, and Fahad is not going to get outpaced by anyone, so we could have a complete a completely mechanical war here, for lack of a better description. But at the same time, it's going to be a bit of a stylistic, I'd say, difference between them, because Evoh will play the aerial game whenever he can, and Fahad will probably prefer to do the ground game. Now, they're both adaptable. I've seen great ground game from Evoh, I've seen great aerial game from Fahad, but given the choice, they both lean two different directions there. And when it comes to defense, expect to see a ton of aggressive challenges from both players, because Evoh loves to go. He just loves to dive in. That's a fantastic bump. Fahad sent absolutely flying there, couldn't even wave dash the recovery, and Evoh's up 3-1 now. Just when Fahad looked like he was going to get through. Oh, Evoh stopped stream? Oh, okay. Well, be sure to drop him a follow anyway. Go say hi next time he's live. Tell him GG's. He probably just went offline so he could really focus on the show match as much as possible. Because it's quite difficult to play competitive ones when you're streaming. It's really good control by Fahad, but the recovery from Evoh instantaneous as expected. Need Ruas versus Evoh. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Great save. Look at the recoveries of Evoh again. That is pretty sick to get a block on that much of an angle shot from Fahad and immediately bounce back into the play. So clean off the post. Fahad didn't do badly there. That was, I think, a decent shot selection by him, but Evoh blocking it without any difficulty at all. So we've seen from Evoh in the past. So I've casted quite a few of his show matches on my stream. When he's on, he's really on, but he can also completely fall apart. He's one of those players that he hasn't, fully figured out his mental game yet. Huge flick by Fahad, but again, Evoh saves it and recovers straight away. So yeah, that's going to be the main thing for Evoh for me, is can he just play a consistent series start to finish, or is he going to start to crumble when things aren't going great for him? Fahad just pressuring, and eventually gets one goal in. Really nice boost management by Fahad there. Didn't worry about running away for 100. He just kept on working with what he had. And eventually gets past the insane defense of Evoh. He's essentially the new Chronic. Yeah, kind of similar, I guess, because Chronic did have some struggles with tilting himself, but they're still different in a way, because Evoh doesn't really tilt himself as much as he just gets tilted by circumstances and by, his opponent's actions. If you want an example of that, you got to go watch Evoh versus AMS, where AMS, slow rolled him on a goal, just stopped the ball on Evoh's goal line, and Evoh, there was no coming back from that. It was gone. Oh my! Look at this save by Fahad. That was pretty sick. What a pre-jump. Evoh had the shot on target. That was going in. And Fahad just predicted where it's going. Low boost pre-jump interception. He's definitely got the aerial defense figured out at this point. Yeah, Evoh, I definitely believe that he can learn how to deal with these difficult circumstances to a higher level. A lot of Rocket League players have had that issue in the past. And it's pretty much about how you think about it, in my opinion. If you consider the ability to deal with unideal circumstances, if you just think of that as a mechanic, then you can just grind it and improve at it. But some players, from what I've seen in the past, they just get this idea that that is who they are, it's just their personality and there's nothing they can do about that, and that kind of defeatist view of the whole process can lead to, you know, extremely snowbally effects where somebody just, their mental just goes completely out the window, and it just gets worse and worse, spiraling out of control. Whereas, you know, if you just think of it as like, okay, this is something I need to work on, I'm not that good at dealing with things going wrong, you know, 50-50 goes in my net, I keep getting demoed, it's anything that's frustrating, keep losing kickoffs, anything that frustrates you in Rocket League, if you just, you know, try to, you know, acknowledge it, say, okay, that's happening, now let's just deal with it, let's just go next. Great 50, look at Evoh. Faking the lean back reset on the ball. So right there, Fahad knows it's a possibility, but instead of hitting the ball upwards to get that reset, Evoh just lets it drop underneath. Ahmad and Evoh are literally duplicates, what you mean playstyle wise? I wouldn't really agree with that if you mean playstyle wise. Evoh, when I watch him play, great pre-flip there by Fahad. He's really putting in some successful challenges in the midfield here. That was, you know, the move that OSM was able to see coming, where Fahad fakes a challenge in plain sight, hides behind the ball, challenges in reverse. So Evoh's going to need to be on the lookout for that one. Yeah, what I was saying is, you know, when I watch Evoh play, it looks like a player who has, you know, just seen the perfect formula for how to do things efficiently and just follows that formula. Everything's very efficient, everything's very clean mechanically, and even though you can, you know, see exactly what he's doing, it doesn't matter because he's so mechanical that he just makes it work anyway. That's a really good play by Fahad again. He thought about slow rolling Evoh here. He is going to somewhat slow roll him, but Evoh, knowing that that's a possibility, charges back as quickly as possible. It's these low boost plays by Fahad in the midfield that have been the difference so far this game. Yeah, like I was saying, for me, Evoh is one of those players who just, it doesn't matter that you know what he's doing, it doesn't help you. The knowledge is only half the battle. He's so mechanical and he's so good that even if you know exactly what he's doing, oh my, what a fake by Fahad, he's just done him again. Evoh flipping right past the ball. Yeah, even if you know what Evoh's going to do, you're still in big trouble. Whereas Ahmad, you have no idea what he's going to do. He's up in the air, you haven't got a clue what's happening. He's improvising, you know. And same thing with like players like Astral. They're literally making it up as they go along. So that's a difference in my opinion. The creativity and the flair and the ability to just improvise on the fly. Wow, the saves in this game are insane. Yeah, Devo is another one. Like, those are players who, they start an attacking play, they start an aerial, and they don't have a plan. Whereas Evoh, I think whenever he jumps up in the air, he's got a plan. And neither one of those things is necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. I think that both playstyles are extremely difficult to play against, but the unpredictability is certainly higher, I'd say, with Ahmad than with Evoh. Evoh is just a well-oiled machine. He's just grinded these mechanics so well and so often, and he's such a naturally gifted player that he can just brute force his way through so many opponents and just beat them, just because he is that fast, that mechanical. Game 1, however, you know, all that chat about Evoh, but it is going to be Fahad who takes game 1 with quite a strong scoreline at the end of the day. And the biggest things that he's done well in this game to really, you know, open up this score gap. Number 1, challenges. Fahad has been a lot more sneaky with his challenges. He's been a lot more successful at just turning around when Evoh doesn't expect him to and chipping the ball over him or taking the ball away from him, especially when Evoh's got boost advantages. So Evoh needs to keep an eye on Fahad. Alternatively, he just needs to start flicking the ball early like we saw OSM do against Fahad, because at least then you're not leaving yourself open to be scored on by these strong challenges. But apart from that, Fahad has just been pretty monstrous as well. I mean, both these guys made some crazy saves in that game. And I don't think that Fahad's going to let Evoh outclass him mechanically. He's not going to let Evoh outpace him either. I mean, we're looking at quite an even matchup in that regard. So what can Evoh do? Is he going to be able to, you know, do the unexpected, in my opinion, and open up a mechanical gap, start to just dominate? Or is he going to start to match Fahad in the 1v1 IQ game? That's what Fahad's done so well up until this point. No reset there for Fahad to work with. Open net for Evoh, taking his time with it, and does slot to get the 1-goal lead. After that, we need Khaled. After this, I think what I'm going to do after this show match is I'm going to look at a couple of replays with you guys. Fahad sent me 2 of his games that helped him get rank 1. He's got 1 game against Khaled, 1 game against Moxie. You know, they were from his road to rank 1 grind, and I want to watch them with you guys. Well, here's another example of Fahad just putting in a challenge, and Evoh does not see it coming. So there it is, Fahad faking a challenge in plain sight, and as soon as he's behind the ball, he backflips into it, and Evoh needs to start seeing that coming. Next time he sees a really obvious fake challenge, he's got to just flick the ball up in the air straight away. Has to, because Fahad is so likely to be challenging in those moments. That's something that OSM had a decent read on. It stopped Fahad from being able to do that as consistently. Because at the moment, every time Fahad fakes a challenge and follows it up with a challenge from behind the ball, it's working. Well, if not every time, it's working far more often than it's putting him in trouble. It's that, not just the, you know, the obvious fake challenges, but also that kind of like wiggle, you know, the really obvious you know, fake turn where it's you haven't even tried to make that look convincing. It's just a fake challenge to show your opponent that you're fake challenging. That's what Evoh needs to be on the lookout for. Fahad fashioning himself some space in the midfield again, even though he hasn't got any boost. He's working the angles well. Now Evoh's got to be careful. Jumps up immediately there to avoid any potential demo as Fahad comes back around. But Fahad finding another way through. Spots Evoh slightly out of position and sends the ball way past him. Great first touch by Fahad. Infield, well, Evoh covers the wall. Fahad really just playing such a good positional game here, making Evoh look silly in a lot of these plays, but that's just because Fahad's so brilliant and Evoh is not able to see these plays come before they arrive. Now the demo will leave the net wide open. Fahad doesn't want to wait too long before putting the net on target. 3-1. It's getting worse for Evoh. No, he needs to start getting a read on Fahad's midfield aggression. He's not been given any space to flex his mechanics. He's not been given any time on the ball uncontested so that he can get those world-class offensive plays rolling. Hey, tell you what though, a couple of kickoff goals don't go amiss. Evoh ties it up. Fahad might want to switch things up here. He's just been crushed in 2 in a row. He's just going to stick to the standard. Nothing too crazy here. No wave dash recoveries. Evoh up by 4-3 now. Fahad predicted this play coming. He does jump, but he didn't get anywhere near of a strong enough contact on the ball. Evoh goes right through him like he's not even there, and 3 kickoffs in a row are just too much for Fahad to handle. Big turnaround for Evoh there. Top 3 players with a unique playstyle. What you mean in 1v1? Well, unique is a bit vague, but I guess if you want the players who are the most stand out. Oh, what a shot by Fahad. Oh my goodness. Any lower and it's going to be saved. Any higher and it's into the bar, but he hits it perfectly between Evoh and the crossbar to tie the game. Yeah, Flakes is definitely one of them, I'd say. Very unique playstyle. He leans so heavily towards defense and reactive play, more so than other players who have made a name for themselves as the top 1v1 player. Cuxer as well. You know, very just, you know, no one's anything like him. He's very identifiable, especially in the Batmobile. And probably, apart from those two, they're the 2 obvious ones. The Cuxer Flakes are just, no one's even close to them. Ooh, Oh, what a goal by Fahad! I mean, he knew that he was on for something here, but that is a tight angle, and he's landing on the ball as well. Great control. Fahad up by 1. Jumped up a bit too high on the challenge for Evoh to contest him. And now Evoh's run out of boost. He would have had this if he had a little bit more boost in the tank there, but ran out just as he was about to make contact. Now here comes Fahad, looking to just carry Evoh out of position here. Don't think it's working though. Evoh, no panic, didn't flip. He might have actually gotten back in control here. Evoh with a really good positional play. Gets 100 boost for himself in a position where previously he had 0. And he is going to turn that into a 5-5 game. Really well done by Evoh there. That might not look like much. It might not look like he really did anything here, but remember, he was the one who was in 0 boost, and they were both locked up side by side, and just by manipulating the way that both cars were stuck steering against each other, Evoh managed to make sure that he's the player who runs over the 100 boost pad. A very fortunate demo there from Fahad. Evoh beat him to the ball. But, oh my, Fahad might have own gold. He has! He's rushed the touch and sends it into his own net. He saw Evoh respawning here, and I'm pretty sure that he knew where Evoh was there, so he knows Evoh's behind him, and he tries to just send the ball into his back corner to get away from Evoh, who's respawning, but accidentally chips it. We have a 1-goal lead for Evoh inside the final minute. Pre-flip to control the ball in the back corner from the American player. Finally, we get to see some of his aerial mechanical play, but he flips away from the ball after securing the reset. Great landing. And now a wide open net from Evoh. Scores it. That was not ideal from him though. Missed the reset shot. Needed to rely on a phenomenal recovery to get a goal for himself there. And not only that, but to prevent Fahad from scoring. Fahad past Evoh. Will he have enough speed? Yes, he will. Fahad just beats Evoh to the punch. He was bumped way out of position here, but he was as efficient as possible to get back into the play. Evoh giving him credit there because he knows that was a long way to run after the bump that he received. Hold on, that might just be on target. Fahad ties it with a direct kickoff goal. Wow, what year is this? Evoh outside of the ball, Fahad goal side, and it goes directly into the net. Now, Fahad's been losing a majority, quite a lot of kickoffs this game, but in the late game here, he is starting to take control. He lost a bunch earlier on. Now he switched it up, staying extremely goal side on every single one. That was almost another strong kickoff for Fahad right there. Now he's on the back foot. Needs to stay away from Evoh because the demos are coming. Big flick from Evoh. Off the post and in. 4 seconds to go. He's taking the lead again. Awkward position for Fahad to be in. He wanted the boost before turning around to defend. Probably wishes he didn't go for it though, because that was all the space that Evoh needed. And he's just going to hold on for another 4 seconds. But wait a minute. That is the worst possible outcome. He's going to, I think, make it work because the ball didn't go quickly enough into the sidewall. My goodness, so Evoh did not make that easy for himself with the kickoffs at the end of the game. Tie series between Middle East and NA. Evoh really had to work for that one. That was huge because I think if he loses this, comeback is pretty much impossible. Fahad's got the potential to come back from any scoreline, any game any game deficit in this, but Evoh's got to stay close. He's got to stay close to keep that mental positive. He's got to stay close to just keep the belief as high as he can. Who do you guys have from here? This is a really, really tough one to call. You know, I'll still say Fahad myself from this position because I think, like I said, he just has more comeback potential, I'd say. But Evoh was in a pretty rough position at the start of last game, came back, and now look at him starting off game 3 in style. Huge flip reset. Fahad decided to try and react to this one. Yeah, good luck. Nobody's saving that on 0 ping. Never mind 88. Or never mind 96, I should say. Did they actually have the same ping for a moment there? It's pretty cool when that happens. Interesting play there by Fahad. He was trying to bait the boost seal from Evoh, and it has not worked at all. In fact, Evoh's just going to double up. So Bit of an awkward play there by Fahad. Evoh did a good job to just have enough boost to turn around. Evoh apologizing because he didn't see Fahad say nice shot on the flip reset. He just didn't reply. He meant to say thanks, I imagine. I'm expecting to see Fahad up the pressure in this game because Evoh's offense is looking good. Great 50 by Fahad. Evoh didn't even do too badly here. He knew that there was a rebound coming. And with 12 boost, that's about as good as you can do. Well, he's not completely behind the ball, but he definitely had a block on a lot of shots there. Yeah, no, Evoh's definitely not, he's definitely a wholesome player. I think he gets inside his own head and, sometimes gets tilted at circumstances, but I don't think he's ever, like, from what I've seen at least, had any bad will towards a player. I think he called Ams cringe, but that's just more funny than anything else. I know Ams definitely doesn't have anything against that. If anything, he enjoyed it. Enjoyed being called cringe. Evoh converting again from an open net opportunity. Fahad was bumped far enough out of position on that landing, despite half flipping in the correct direction to get back as quickly as he could. Evoh's just too good with the open net conversions. Fahad maybe getting a bit too comfortable after playing against OSM. He's feeling too good about giving open nets to his opponents. Cringe open net, TBH. Oh, well played. Evoh. Oh, he's beamed it! Oh, he did so well. He did so well. Did everything right. That's not a convincing fake challenge though. What a save by Evoh. Man, he's not making it easy on himself here. With fake challenges, if Fahad's never in a million years going to fall for it, but my word, the saves are next level. It's great work on the turn by Fahad. Evoh feeling the pressure, had to use a ton of boost on that save, even though it was a good one. Fahad backs up Evoh once again. No immediate goal, but he's in a strong position again. Wants another delayed dodge into the ball. Evoh puts it behind him though. And he's got just enough boost to get that acceleration. And takes his time. Doesn't want to miss another open net, even though this one's a lot easier to secure than the aerial open net he had. Great bait there by Evoh. Pretending that he's completely out of boost, but as we could see from watching both POVs, he was saving up everything that he could get. Just enough to get that burst of speed and dodge the challenge. Bit of a risky move there by Evoh. Fahad was definitely thinking about forcing an own goal. He has missed his shot off the back wall. Evoh backs all the way off to midfield to grab boost. Another fake challenge very close to the play, followed up by no more pressure on the ball, but Evoh flips through after pre-jumping to block a high flick. Both players are doing a good job challenging from goal side to give themselves as good of a chance as they can, but again Evoh just finds a way through. 2 goals in a row now that he just goes straight for the net and trusts that he will be able to just beat Fahad to the ball. Both of these guys' screens, when they're playing with on EU server, they're going to be beating each other by a fair margin on their own screens, but they also know that it's going to be a lot closer server side than it looks. Early flip reset from Evoh. Fahad flies right by. 6-2. Evoh's aerial does connect this time around. He puts into this game. Really good control there. What I love about that shot from Evoh is he's making an early move on the ball. That will counter the early dive-in challenge should Fahad decide to go for it, but he's also not losing control. He's moving the ball so that there's no chance Fahad can take it away from him. But he's not completely all in. He's giving himself another touch on it, and it's a very difficult thing to do. It's hard to, make a quick move from an aerial play while also giving yourself a chance to catch up to the ball again. Evoh doing it perfectly. Definitely would have been a bit surprised to see Evoh there. And again, I'm not sure where Evoh's going in these plays, but Fahad's pulled one back. I'm sure Fahad was surprised to see Evoh driving behind him there. Looked like he was attempting a demo maybe, but did not get close to landing it. Now Evoh, chance to waste a lot of time off the clock. Will he take it? It looks like instead of that, he's going to play for another immediate goal. Does land on Fahad. And that will give Evoh another chance to waste a lot of time off the clock, which this time he will use to the best of his ability. That being said, Evoh is definitely conceding possession pretty quickly every time here. He could have knocked off a minute quite easily, but that showman inside of him making it as interesting as possible. That's a really good save by Evoh. Fahad connecting with the bump, but it looked like Evoh got one past him anyway, and the aerials are just too consistent for Evoh in game number 3. Fahad needs to go faster on every single play here. If he gives Evoh enough time to land a reset, you're getting scored on. It's just as simple as that. He is just too good with this. He's one of those players, when he's got a reset on the ball, he's scoring the majority of the time. Fake challenge is definitely not convincing though from Evoh. Fahad again, not falling for one. And this time he does connect with the bump to keep this a relatively competitive game. It's all about the kickoffs for Evoh. If he can just get one of these to roll his way and start to waste a little bit of time off the clock, this is his game. There's nothing Fahad can do, but again, Evoh just giving the ball to Fahad. Bit risky, because Fahad is going to place a shot. Great save though by Evoh. And I'll say it again, he's really not making this easy on himself, but he's making it work. The saves have been clutch, the aerial plays have been insane in game number 3, and he's got a flip to work with here. You've got to be careful. Or did he have a flip to work with? Because he actually went for a reset again. Fahad. Oh, very cheeky recovery shot there. I think now it's safe to say that Evoh's done enough. He's defended well enough to hold on for the rest of this game. Fahad still having a good time reading Evoh's fake challenges. That's not been a problem for him. The main issue in this game is that Evoh has been just on with his aerial offense, and unless that falls off on Evoh's half of the field, I don't see Fahad having a good answer to it. It's going to be too tricky. It's going to be far too hard to read the aerial plays should that be the deciding factor. If you want Evoh to try, you got to give him a prize pool. It looks like he's sweating right now, mate, so I don't know if I'd agree with you there. I think he's trying right now, and he's not got a prize pool, so I don't think we got to worry about that. The Real Cheddar Biscuit, thanks to the brand new Prime. I really appreciate that, man. Great name as well, actually. It's all going to be about whether or not Fahad can shut down Evoh's offense before it gets going. Because in games 1, and also game 2 for most of it, Fahad wasn't even giving Evoh a chance to get space and create those aerial plays. But game 3, Evoh started to get those positions a lot more. And he was, taking his time in the back corners to set those up. I'd like to see that from Fahad. I think he could probably have done more in terms of adjusting his kickoffs in this matchup. Evoh, apart from the end of game number 2, has been winning more of the standard kickoffs than Fahad, I believe. Not been keeping a counted tally, but from what I can remember, the standard kickoffs are looking unreal for Evoh. So Fahad should be trying to go for more wave dash recovery kickoffs, maybe a delayed kickoff every now and then. Evoh just backing up, and he's trying to just defend against Fahad's flicks. Not looking like a good idea though. It's 2 for 2 for Fahad in game number 4. I think Evoh may be backing off a bit too often in these positions. And when he does fake challenges, they're not convincing fake challenges. They just look like obvious fake challenges. And a player like Fahad sniffing that out miles away. Evoh half committing to a mid boost there. He is going to get back for the save, but uses all his boost to do so. Preferring ball pressure over a back corner boost grab. That's, I think, a really good switch up by Evoh there. And that was a much more convincing fake move on the ball as well. It's bought him a ton of time. Fahad blocking an aerial play. He'll be delighted at that because he didn't get a lot of those in game number 3. Cheeky little deflection by Evoh, chips the ball into his back wall. Extremely efficient use of the boost, and this time he does see that move coming in from Fahad. So something that was working earlier on in the series for Fahad has just failed. That's when he's hiding behind the ball and challenging immediately. Remember how often in games 1 and 2 Fahad would successfully challenge the ball like that. Now Evoh sees it coming. He's made that adjustment. We saw OSM make the same adjustment against Fahad. I think for him it was a bit more quick because, well, he was listening to the stream. Evoh, I don't know if he's listening, but he's made the correct adjustment. Whenever you see Fahad disappear behind the ball, move it in some way, shape or form. Don't just sit with it on top of your car. Boost advantage for Evoh. Fahad decides it's time to just go. Somewhat effective with that challenge because now you'll have 100 on the next go around. Fahad full shadow on the next defensive play. Evoh's forced him to do that by successfully seeing the previous reverse challenge come towards him. Everything including the small boost pad being stolen here. Evoh's going to be in a bit of a rough position. Wants as high of a ball as possible to buy him some time. More boost being stolen away. Expert flick from Fahad. And the goal secure as well. All the boost being taken away. Even the small pads. Absolutely brutal to see. Evoh usually has the stream open when he plays. Okay. The smart move. I was talking to OSM about this earlier on today, actually. Like, he's told me in the past that sometimes he'll listen to one of my things I'm saying in the commentary, and he'll just try it out to see if it works. And sometimes it will, and that's because when you're commentating ones, it's a lot easier to see trends, and it's a lot easier to see misplays. It's a lot easier to see potential adaptations that players could be making than it is to do that when you're playing, because when you're playing you're fully locked in and you have to be so focused on what you're doing mechanically. It's quite hard to see the decisions the other players making and the strategies that they're using to outplay you. So yeah, I think if there was ever a 1v1 tournament, I think coaches in 1v1 would be more important than coaches are in threes. Threes coaches are mainly a mentality booster and a player psychology boost. Lovely flick by Fahad. Evoh didn't see that coming towards the near post. But when it comes to 1v1, I think a 1v1 coach could be so valuable because they can see all the plays from both players' perspectives and just get a better overview of the game compared to when you're in the game itself. That's why I'm always so impressed with players who can make those mid-game, mid-series adaptations. It's so difficult to do that. Anyone who's played ones will know. It's hard enough to figure out why you're losing kickoffs. If you lose 2 kickoffs in a row, you're like, well, I don't know what's going on. If you're in the game, it's very hard to know what you need to do differently. It's only when you have that overview that you can be like, oh, yeah, he just has to flip the other way. Oh, he just has to wave dash recovery. Oh, he just has to fake it. It's a lot easier to do that when you're watching. Evoh, no reset yet, but he might get one. Decides to go for an extra touch on the ball anyway. Didn't get Fahad coming towards him to work with, though. It's a really good aggressive move by Evoh into the back corner there. Fahad's trying to slow down the game. He's trying to bait Evoh forward. Evoh's finding ways to advance without taking himself out of the game. And now here comes the big aerial play. Is he going to go for the reset? Just a standard air dribble. Fahad full shadowing in this game. He's not lunging in on these. And he's saved a couple now. Huge flick by Fahad, sinks it. We're starting to see a turn in the tide here, whereas in game 3, Evoh is scoring with every single aerial. Now, most of them are being saved. Fahad's shadowing is top tier. Something he used to rely on a lot more when he was at the top of his game. Not going to save that one, though. Double reset from Evoh. Fahad with the immediate compliment in the chat. And it's just skimmed so quickly off the front of his car with the second dodge. It's almost like a pre-flip, the way that he connects with it. 1-goal game. Evoh, 1 kickoff goal away from tying it. That's not going to be it, but it almost was. It's great control by Fahad to buy himself some time there before charging into Evoh's half and assuming the full shadow position. Evoh, just a direct air dribble again. Would have loved to see maybe an air dribble bump on that one. Air dribble dunk perhaps. Or the reset. He's going to go for the mind game. And he can just get it into the far post. Evoh with small margins making it work. It was the air dribble dunk, and then barely slotting the shot past Fahad, who was obviously pre-jumping there. 6-all. Fahad trying to keep the kickoffs as variable as possible. The mechanics of Evoh, the consistency of Evoh in the kickoffs have really been a problem. But Evoh, in plain sight, turns around, lunging in for a challenge. That's a bit careless. Way too easy for Fahad to counter. He saw the turn, and he's got full control every time that he's dribbling. You know that he's got the flick locked down and available. And it's going to be a 2-goal advantage, I think. It is. Evoh used all his boosts on the kickoff and didn't even get an even one. You know, if you're using all the boosts apart from the last pad, you've got to at least go even. You've got to keep it a bit closer than that. We might be headed to game 5 here. Evoh side onto the ball. Bit of an awkward position. Fahad turns around. Evoh able to get the 100 boosts and get a clean touch on it, but Fahad, likewise, he dodges the back wall demo. That might be game over. And indeed it is. Fahad decides to just react to the aerial plays, and he makes it work. Less of a reset focused offense from Evoh in this game. More of a standard air dribble approach, and it did not work. I think that it's the flip resets that are working for Evoh when he takes to the air. That's, I think, what he should be really trying to go for as much as possible. A credit to Fahad. Ridiculously consistent flicks. And this game for Fahad was more of a 2020 Fahad. This is what he did when he really burst onto the scene. Won the Goldmine 1v1 tournament. He was all about the flicks. He was all about shadowing and defense. Very traditional 1v1 playstyle. Today he's been a lot more about the ground shots. He's been a lot more about the ball pressure. You know, he's really become a more well-rounded player in recent time, but he's got the you know, different styles that he can switch up to, and they're all very effective. Has Evoh got the game plan to counter that? Fahad quickly on the turn. Evoh post pinches it clear. Fahad decides to leave the back corner boost. Didn't want to just give Evoh a free shot on net, but Evoh's going to get one, as he's managed to catch Fahad sleeping in the back corner. SOS me. Thanks for the 2-month prime, by the way, and glad you enjoyed the casting on LAN. Welcome back to the channel. Didn't see a lot of Fahad getting caught out of position with demos today, so credit to Evoh there, but Fahad just called his bluff on this one. I mean, that was just such an obvious challenge that Evoh's thinking there's no way he's actually challenging here, but that's exactly why Fahad's going. And he absolutely crushes it straight into the net afterwards. 1-1. Evoh with back corner possession. Chance for an aerial. Decides against it. It was a bit of an awkward setup, so I don't blame Evoh for not going for this one. Fahad running high on the wall away from the demo, but he gets caught when he comes down to the ground again. Evoh all about the demos in this game. It's another straight up air dribble and another unsuccessful direct air dribble from Evoh. It's really gone away from the flip resets in the latter end of this series, and I don't know why, because that's really, I think, the most deadly option that he's got when he attacks in the air. Another demo from Evoh. This one does get dodged by Fahad. Is Evoh getting a bit too predictable? He's gone for many of the same shots again and again in these two games. Fahad is definitely seeing them coming now. Lots of possession for Evoh, but Fahad only needs one, and he's going to clip on the open net to send Evoh a message. Again, it's just vision for Fahad that's winning him these exchanges. He sees Evoh coming and he reacts accordingly. Meanwhile, Evoh saw Fahad coming and he didn't react. He just assumed it would be a fake challenge. Oh no, Evoh's just flipped past the ball. Fahad not going to take any prisoners here. 3-1. This is what I was worried about late in the game. I've seen this from Evoh before. He just starts to fall apart under the pressure. Had the 2-1 lead, but Fahad has got the comeback potential. He came back from 2-1 down against OSM. Looking to do the same thing against Evoh. Just unshakable mentality, these Middle Eastern players. They always seem to have the comeback on lockdown. Well, unless it's Ahmad in 1v1, then he's obviously tilted permanently. But all the 1v1 players, they just don't seem to tilt at all. Successful fake challenge from Evoh. Fahad decides to just go straight for the ball anyway. He's continuing to mix it up. Remember how often Fahad shadowed in the last game. Now it's all about the challenges, and the mind game lands as well. Fahad rolls it into the open net. This is devastating for Evoh. Absolutely devastating. There could not have been a worse start to a game 5. He's completely whiffed, and now he's been mind gamed. And on top of that, Fahad is finding openings to early challenge him. Here's another one. He just knows that Evoh is not going to move that ball, and he makes it 5-1. Evoh's got to start seeing these challenges coming. I mean, he can see, but he just doesn't react. It's almost as if he's hoping, against all hope, that that's just going to be a fake challenge. But we know better. We can see Fahad's only got one intention. That is to go straight for the ball. Still, plenty time left for Evoh. If he can start converting on his possession plays, and he's definitely got a chance. Demo's continuing to be effective for him. Looking to open up an angle in the dribble. Gets an early move on it, but Fahad lands perfectly on the ball in the back corner, and away goes Evoh. Fahad not falling for the fake challenges. He is just not falling for any of Evoh's tricks in this game. Evoh chases him away though. Oh, he's missed the open net! You're joking! It goes from bad to worse for Evoh. He got the wide open net for himself. He earned it by chasing Fahad into the corner, threatening another demo. But instead, he sends the open net wide of the far post by a mile. Surely now, Evoh gets one. But man, this is a really tough one to watch for an Evoh fan, because it's just all gone wrong for him in this game. He does see the early challenge from Fahad coming this time, and he moves accordingly. That was a good play, but he's going to need a lot more of those. Infield he goes. No time being wasted by Evoh. The shot's lackluster though. In fact, it's going to be another open net for Fahad, which he tries to double tap with a pre-flip. Fahad is just absolutely brimming with confidence, while Evoh's in shambles. I mean, who does this? He's just showing him how it's done, I suppose. Fahad showing how easy open nets are when you have got ice in the veins. Delayed kickoff for Evoh. He switches it up late in the series, and he slots it. Love the switch up from Evoh. He has been extremely consistent with the kickoff strats, keeping it basic, keeping it simple, start to finish, but now he makes the change. Inverted half flip by Fahad, landing in reverse. Now that's actually a pretty safe kickoff strategy, despite it looking a bit weird for anyone who's new to it. It rarely results in an immediate kickoff goal, even if you do concede possession. Evoh quickly in field, and now only down by 2. Great switch up by Evoh. Saw Fahad turning, did not hesitate with the finish, and he has got ages left in the game to work with. Fahad next up on the play. 50 seconds to go. Infield dribbles being preferred by both players over wall plays. What a recovery by Evoh. He's gone and scored it with 40 seconds to go. The lead is crumbling. Evoh did not take long to get back to that ball, and definitely got there a lot quicker than Fahad was expecting. And you know, Fahad must have thought that all he's got to do is waste time on one of these plays and he's going to be right back in this, or he's going to be running away with it, I should say. But now suddenly he is absolutely in trouble. Evoh with the clip to tie the game, and it's an intelligent one as well. He doesn't even shoot the ball towards Fahad. He waits for it to bounce back up towards him once Fahad's committed, and chips it behind him. 27 seconds to go. We have got a scripted tie game. Delayed kickoff by Fahad. Doesn't get him what he wanted, but the early challenge does. Evoh's panicked. Who's going to get there first? It was Evoh, but Fahad demos him. One touch, and it's going to go in. And is that a little bit of tilt from Evoh? Has he telegraphed his mentality in the quick chat? Double no problem from Fahad, trying to capitalize on what must be a tilted opponent. Because the early challenges from Fahad have decimated Evoh in game number 5. Now he takes control on what could be the last kickoff of the game. We're inside the final 10 seconds. Fahad is wisely going to waste all the time that he can. He's going to try and play keep away. Evoh unable to connect to Demo, and he will end up losing in devastating fashion. Sportsmanlike GG from Evoh in the chat. He will not believe this. Everything's gone wrong from him in this game. But Fahad, clutch. Consistent. Evoh says run it back for 100. He wants to rematch. It's going to have to be another day because I don't have time today. Fahad says, well, that weird. He must mean, well, that was weird. He probably just felt, I think he's trying to say that was a weird game. NA just fly, I guess. Wait, what's he mean? No offense. Oh, so he means like aerial? I want to know what he means. NA just fly, I guess. Does he mean airport? Ah, okay. I wasn't sure if he meant NA is just very aerial. Yeah, another time, Evoh, another time. I don't have time to cast another best of 5, but I'd love to cast a rematch of this. It's a super interesting matchup. Different styles, insane mechanics, and you know, Evoh fought back bravely there. I didn't think he had that in him. When the goal gap started opening up in the final game, I thought Fahad was just going to run away with it, but credit to Evoh, he really fought back there. Took his chances well, and made it a real, competition at the end there. But yeah, you can clearly see that in that game 5, Fahad was the one who was consistent, he was confident, and he knew what to do. Whereas, Evoh definitely more panicky out of the two, so a big advantage there. Just the mental game and the clutch factor is just there for Fahad. Yeah, he says NA just fly, because I think what Fahad means is, in that third game, Evoh's aerials were insane. He was really just popping off with the aerials, and Fahad was thinking, what am I going to do? How am I supposed to save this? But it turns out he didn't have to, because NA flies in more than one way. They also like to, leave lands early to go fly at the airport. It's a really deep statement there by Fahad. It's literal and metaphorical.